Yo, what's up guys, it's me Jake here, and I'm back to the old angle for today's video. I don't think any of you expected that, but today I'm going to be making a video that I've been wanting to make for a while. I've had this thumbnail in the back of my pocket for the past maybe 2 months now, so I just decided I just gotta make this video. I've been wanting to make this video for such a long time, and that is the Greatness of Danmachi. I've also not really done a Greatness of for a really long time, so I thought it would be a perfect time to do so. Now, before I get into this, if you like my content, please go down there and hit that like and subscribe button. And also, if you don't know, I started streaming on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. EST, so if you want to come in, that's definitely a good time just to talk to me. You can ask me any question you want. I'll usually have a question of the day too, so let's just see if you guys come there. I've been having fun. I had one last week and it's been really fun, so hope you guys check it out. And yeah, let's just get straight into this video. Now, if you didn't know, I talk about Danmachi in a lot of my videos. Well, not too many, but I did talk about it on my stream a little bit, and I did also talk about it in a video a while back called my intro into anime and manga. And if you don't know, I have all 27 volumes of the Danmachi manga here, which is all the spin-offs as well. I currently do not own the light novels, but I did a little bit of a hint to get some, so I'm really excited to get them, and I cannot wait to read through them. I already love the anime so much, and I want to talk about it to you guys today. And I know what you guys might be saying, Danmachi, what is that? Is that some just random isekai? What is it? Yada. Now, I like it. It's my favorite anime. It's also one that brings me the most nostalgia because it's my first ever anime. And I just want to talk about it, so let's get straight into this. I'll say a synopsis first so the people who don't know Danmachi can kind of get a little bit of a gist in their head. So, to start off, we have our protagonist named Bell Cranel. Now, Bell is a new adventurer not starting too long ago, and he automatically goes to floor number 5 of this dungeon. Now, you might say, is it a fantasy and isekai? Because early on it's kind of weird, but it is definitely a fantasy, no isekai elements. There are levels, and it's kind of difficult to understand the levels until you actually watch a little bit into them, and then it makes more sense. I'll go into the leveling system later on, but to continue the synopsis, Bell goes into this, and the Loki Familia, which I'll talk about Familias also later on, is doing a raid basically, and a Minotaur leaves their raid and that gets up to the 5th floor, which is more of a beginner floor, and Bell is getting chased by this Minotaur till he is left at a dead end and almost dead, until one of the strongest people in this world named Eyes Wallenstein shows up and saves his life, leaving blood splatter of the Minotaur all over Bell, and he looks up to her and he just falls instantly in love. And this is the story of how Bell tries to get strong enough so he can get her to notice him and have her fall in love with him. So he's just trying to get her attention basically throughout the series. But it's not really just some random rom-com. It does have a lot of good fantasy and action and adventure elements in it. It's not focusing purely on that romance. He is a very, not too in-depth, he is a more dense protagonist, but the characters that surround him are a really good cast, and it really makes the series that much better. So I definitely suggest at least giving the first season a try of the anime, because the manga, the only thing about the manga is the first 10 volumes of the manga only adapts the first season, and we're currently airing on season 3 with around 8 episodes, and it's really good. Now, if you were to ask me how I would rank the seasons, I would definitely say season 1 was really good, season 2 is good, but not as good as season 1, season 3 is season 1 level, is really good as well. So, I definitely would suggest this anime for those who like a fantasy series. And yeah, to go into that level system I said earlier, basically it's kind of weird how it works. It isn't just an EXP system where oh, if you kill this X amount of monsters, you get this level up. It's more about the achievements you do. So, let's just say you are a level 1 who's been training. You can have all your stats be at S tier, but still only be at level 1. You can have all your stats be triple S and still be at level 1. And why is that? You didn't get an accomplishment big enough to get this level up. In the start of one of the spin-offs, which takes place literally right at the start of the Danmachi actual anime and manga and light novel, is placed in the same time period, is Sword Oratoria, and you see Eyes level up right off the bat. You see her level up from level 5 to level 6. Now, this is because she beats a floor boss by herself. That is an accomplishment enough to level her up. It's kind of weird how they do it, and you can't see if you leveled up until you got your status update by your god. Now, to get into the gods, it really focuses more around the Greek gods, and yeah, mostly the Greek gods, because there's Apollo, Hephaestus, I don't know. I know Zeus is in there. I don't know about Aphrodite, but like those that more side of gods, like Achelos, Hermes, Hestia, and Hestia is the main god, like the goddess of the story, because Bel is in the Hestia Familia. And basically, these gods descend upon Earth, and they make familias, which are just basically guilds, to go into this dungeon and try and get as far as they possibly can. Now, these gods, yes, they're immortal, but they're not allowed into this dungeon. They just have to let their adventurers adventure into the dungeon by themselves, which is a really nice take on it. I really like how the gods interact with their adventurers and how the gods interact with other gods. So it really does bring upon a good aspect on that, and how they can joke around, because it's not just all action. There are comedy elements in this. How the gods can just joke around like, oh, you did this in heaven, and it just like brings up just a random like, oh yeah, they are gods. They aren't humans. I forgot about that. Like it brings up that kind of aspect, and it also brings upon an aspect of, because they're gods, they're immortals, and they will see these adventures die no matter what. So it kind of brings that sad factor in with it. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword for these gods to get attached to these adventurers that they recruit. But to get into why I think this is great. Now, the cast of characters in the story is phenomenal. I really do like this cast of characters. Talking about the Hestia Familia alone, there's going to be a little bit of spoilers, but I don't think that's going to be too bad. Season 2 mainly, because most of the Hestia Familia comes in Season 2, and it doesn't really make that much of a difference. The first two, you'll know, basically are going to be in the Hestia Familia no matter what at some point, but a little bit of a spoiler, so like just skip like 20 seconds ahead. If you're in the premiere, just like mute for like 10 to 20 seconds. I know you guys that are in the premiere might want to not hear a spoiler, but basically, Lili, Wealth, Mikoto, Haruhime, Hestia, and Bel. Great, phenomenal cast for the main cast. It's not like each is a different cliche. As a matter of fact, Lili and Hestia are basically the same trope, and it's really funny to watch how they clash heads while the others are more calm and collected, and then Bel is the more childish one, which if you were like, why do we have a childish protagonist? He is only 15 in the series. He's still a young teen. He's still going to make some kid mistakes. He's still a kid. So it makes sense. And basically his only parental guardian when he was growing up was his grandpa, and his grandpa was a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, if you shall say. I will admit, he's always just like, get the girl. If she's sleeping, you got her. Like, stuff like that. Like, he doesn't show up at all in the series, but you just see him in flashbacks through Bel. And basically, this cast phenomenal. Even the characters that are more side characters, like the Loki Familia with Wealth, Eyes, Tione, and Tiona, sorry. Rivera, Finn, Geralt, or not Geralt, Gareth, I think his name is. Geralt or Gareth, I always forget his name. Amazing characters. Hermes with Asfi, amazing cast. A bunch of great, amazing characters. And like even the characters that are newer are really just interesting. And how they bring upon these arcs are very good. Because like the first arc didn't really have a main antagonist at all. It's kind of all over the place, but it was all over the place in a way that made it great. Compared to Season 2, which had basically half the season for one antagonist and half the season for another one. So it builds upon two antagonists. And then the Season 3 is like mostly one antagonist until the most recent episode. I'm not going to say anything about that because there would be major spoilers because the episode came out yesterday when this is coming out. So I don't want to spoil that, you know. I don't want to spoil something that happened yesterday in the anime. So sorry about that, guys. I think you guys know how it is with me. The dogs had to go out, so I didn't want to interrupt this video too much, but they just kept barking, so I had to let them out, so it didn't really bring out any, like, you know, sounds of, like, just dogs barking in the background, so sorry about that. But let's just get back on topic. So our own cast, it was really phenomenal, really great. Now, the action is so well animated. I think this is one of the better JC staff animations. Mostly with Season 3, they've been really killing it. Season 2 had pretty good action. Season 1's action was phenomenal. I think the fight scenes were really important and really impactful and showed why it was that much better. It just didn't have to focus on the action, but the action in the series is amazing. Now, I forgot to add this about the cast. The cast is somewhat of a harem. Like, most of the girls do like Bel. But just because they like Bel, it's not like it's a random reason, like someone of that era, Kirito. It's actually good reasoning. He does save most of these girls or do something that makes it so these girls would like him and risk his life a lot. So it makes very much sense that these girls like him. It's not just random. Like, at this time, when this first season was airing, people are comparing him to Kirito about his harem, but it's not really the same at all. They're very different when you look at it. But to get back on topic of the action, and now I'm going to talk about the adventure. The adventure, aspects of this are really amazing. How each floor is developed very differently. I know one floor is basically all black and white trees. It kind of reminds me of Hueco Mundo from Bleach. I love Hueco Mundo. I love that arc. I'll be honest. It's not as good as Soul Society arc, but I definitely think the Aranka arc is pretty good as well. But let's get back on Danmachi, not Bleach video, so I'm not going to go too far into Bleach. But basically, this adventure goes into a dungeon, and not even just that. They also have something called a Familia War, and that's more like a clash between the heads of the Familia, so the god and goddesses have differing opinions. That's a thing in this series. Those are really interesting. We only get to see one so far. I think that's probably the only one we're ever going to see. We also see things around the town that they're in called Aurora. It's a really cool town because there's different structures for where the gods were building them, because different gods built different areas, so they all have different kind of aspects to them. I'm not saying like every god or goddess has like their own area they built, but the more builder gods build different areas, and their structures are different depending on the god or goddess. I'm unspecified god or goddess. You guys know how it is. I can't assume it's 2020, but just to say that. And yeah, it's just really interesting to see how this town is built, of like a nighttime town where it's just more about like prostitution and stuff like that, into a normal, regular, bustling town with a bunch of normal things, and like a bar, and where the dungeon is placed, a weapon shop, an armor shop, a blacksmith area. It's a really nice thing to see. And then there's also like a town that's more like darker with rundown buildings and stuff like that. It's a really nice thing to see, like this difference around these area that we mainly explore with the dungeon. It's really nice to see even an outside world being really interesting in that factor. And even in the spin-off where we follow Ryu, Familia Chronicle Ryu, episode of Ryu, because the main author has made spin-off manga volumes for the light novels that have only one series adapted into manga, because there's two spin-offs, one about Ryu, one about Freya, and there's another one actually about Eyes. But basically, the one about Ryu, we get to go outside Aurora as well, so we can see what's outside of it a little bit as well. So it's really nice how it's written, so we can see most of the outside of this world, not just the inside of this dungeon, and even the inside of this dungeon is amazing. So I think that's going to be it for this video. If you did like this, please like and subscribe, and if you want any more Jake the Pod content, you should go down there and follow my socials. I mainly use Instagram, but I do go on Twitter sometimes as well, so I just suggest following both. And yeah, if you want to see more, I also stream on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. EST, so yeah. Hope I see you guys next time, and peace!